Next, call up Mr. Andrew Shepard, Director, Industry Programs, Industries Association of Canada. Andrew's going to give you a nice spiel on ICAR. Very important stuff.
So I'm not sure if I've mentioned the Ottawa Senators. I know this is somewhat unusual to have a rotation of very good-looking people and very ugly people come up in front of you, but here we are. One of my responsibilities at AIE Canada is to run ICAR training in Canada. I've done that since 2010. We don't get out to British Columbia very much, and we've had off and on through the years quite a varied relationship with the province on the delivery of ICAR training. So I will go through just a few of the very basics to cover what we do and what our recognition program looks like, and then talk about how people are accessing ICAR classes and how it might work in the future. Just as an overview, then we'll look at the ICAR Professional Development Program, Gold and Platinum recognition that are part of it, the emergence of Gold Class as certainly a North American standard of training, and the current state and future about where we're going. The core of the program is the Platinum Individual Recognition. Under this, for the technician completes a set of courses that cover the core competencies of their professional role, and for a shop then to become Gold Class demonstrates that they have all of the necessary competencies among those technicians. The core of it then is you assign your technicians into designated roles. You do this online. In fact, and this is an example, I guess, of the infrastructure that AIA brings to these programs. The ladies who are helping you out at the front desk, who are Mireille, Manon, and Michelle, are ICAR staff, and we steal them to help with the CCIF production. And if you have any questions about ICAR, they are experts and far more than me, of course. We put the technicians into designated roles. The technician reaches platinum recognition by completing the core courses. Those are the lists of the roles that are key to Gold Class. And you maintain your designation with 6 hours of training per year and register in Gold Class in progress while you're completing that. This is a chart, very difficult to read, I'm afraid, of the role requirements. So on the very left-hand column is a non-structural technician. In fact, this is a picture of my website. When I log into ICAR Canada, I can see which courses I have completed and which I have left to do to become a platinum recognized technician. So for the non-structural technician, I have completed about a third of those courses towards becoming that recognized as a platinum level non-structural technician. And of course, I can have multiple roles. You'll notice that I seem to have finished all of the refinished technician courses, and I can assure you that I have not done one of them. I just get access to the administrative side of it. So that, please don't ask me any questions after we're done. So the shop then, to become Gold Class, has to have one platinum level technician in each of those 4 key roles. So why would you bother doing this? Why would you bother engaging in Gold Class or in ICAR training beyond the what I would call the desperate need to keep up with the technology of the industry? First and foremost these days are the requirements of OE certified repair network programs, and I'm very pleased to see groups like Honda, Volkswagen, Toyota, who I know is going to come along very quickly, and others starting to build in this skill requirement to achieve a level of training and skills acquisition, and we're seeing Gold Class embedded in most of those programs, certainly going forward. In the US, required in whole or in part by Honda, Acura, FCA, Ford, and Nissan. And also accompanying this as part of the Gold Class recognition is welding certification. I think aside from any ICAR courses you might take, The need to update technician welding certification and training is absolutely critical in this industry, and welding qualifications are required by most of the major manufacturers. Sorry about the size of that. I want to just illustrate what's been happening with ICAR over the last couple of years, because it speaks to the issue of class availability. We set a record in 2014 for a number of seats, I would call them. That is the number of single class participants at about 12,000, and that was because of the launch of the Ford F-150 program, which was very popular across the country. Most of those were live. The column in blue are live classes. But you'll see the transition in 2016 to a really vast increase in the number of online courses. Almost all of our courses are available online. And what's happening right now is that as shops are moving toward the Honda Certified Repair Network requirements or other OEs, they are moving far more rapidly to acquire those courses and are taking them online. And one of the results of this is that ICAR has become a much more demand-driven organization. Training is more demand-driven. And if you've had experience with ICAR, and a lot of you have over the last 30 years, there used to be just courses set up normally in colleges. We would advertise to the local area. We would invite you to participate. Some people would show up and some would not. And we would generally lose money over the last 30 years. Now we're much more oriented to your shop giving us a call and saying, we need these courses, how can we set it up? And we then work with local shops to set up a specific class. So we are, and again, I see Michelle over by the side door. Michelle, if you wouldn't mind raising your hand. Michelle is dismayed now at me having pointed her out, because your job is to phone or connect with Michelle, and Michelle will go through your mapping of courses and say, this is what makes sense for you as an HR plan, as a training plan for your organization, and here are the classes we can set up for you in your area. So you will not likely see general classes offered at colleges, at least until the shops in Canada start to become gold class and go back to more of a maintenance approach. And that's the trend over the last year or two. This is a map of welding qualifications with just under 500 last year. Very pleased about this progress, and not from a self-satisfaction measure, but really as an industry recognizing that welding skills are absolutely critical to safety, to vehicle safety, and the change in welding technology over the last few years. And unfortunately, until this point in Canada, if you took your welding qualification during your apprenticeship 25 years ago, it means that you're currently qualified to weld. And I just don't buy that. I don't buy it. And I don't think there are many shop managers who will say, yeah, that's all you need is to have learned 25 years ago. The changes are so profound in that area of the industry that updated welding qualification is absolutely critical. The question that we do get from some of the OEs, from other participants who are drawing on gold class, is that there are not very many gold class shops in Canada at this point. And that's true because we've just in the last few years really upped the bar as to what it means to become gold class. So I've put together a few numbers here with on the first column the province, the second column roughly the number of shops in the province. Among those shops, the total role registrations. And so, if we looked at an average of 4 or 5 or 6 technicians per shop, you can see that not every shop in Canada obviously has registered their people in a role with us. The second to last column is the total number of technicians with 6 or fewer remaining courses to become platinum. Now, these are estimates. So on my right-hand column, I've got the number of shops who are what I would call in range. And if you have a technician with 6 courses left, you could have that finished in 2 or 3 weeks if there was an agreement for the technician to put in a little bit of overtime in the evening to do these, for the shop manager to allow them to do it. The expense is certainly not the biggest issue. I recognize that the time is. But the number of shops then in range of gold class right now is around 300 or 400 shops, which is about 10% of the shops in Canada, and will become gold class over the next 3, 4, 5 months. We will then see a tipping point with more shops who are gold class than are not. So very pleased about that status of ICAR training in Canada. I don't have very much more to say about this except that we are an absolutely hands-on service. And as much as Michelle hates me now for pointing her out, she is the person. You grab her card, she will look at your shop status, she will help you decide what courses your people need and what your shop needs to become gold class, and you will have a telephone call from her within a day or 2, or a little more than that. Just a few things about where we are right now. We've got about 50 instructors across the country, including British Columbia. Over 600 training locations, 11 fixed welding qualification centers, including BCIT. And over the future, you're going to see the introduction of the production manager role with some very nice courses on HR, on process management, more granular knowledge delivery, where over the past 30 years we've been fixated on 4-hour courses. You're going to start to see 2-hour courses and 1-hour courses and 30-minute courses available online in particular. More delivery formats. More hands-on training, including the latest rivet bonding course we've got available. More customization to the Canadian reality, including fitting with Dave Ribeiro's program here in the ARA program about how ICAR can be delivered under that. Content and recognition programs tailored to the Canadian reality, and more analytics provided in particular to the networks in Canada. Networks are very interested in how their shops are going, what their budget is going to be for the coming year, and we provide that top-down view for those partners. And the trend that's going to hit us with real importance over the next year or two are going to be a flood of OE and vehicle-specific training courses. ICAR in the US, which produces these courses, has been inundated by requests from the OEs to produce courses that let people understand exactly how their vehicles need to be repaired, which is changing so rapidly as we speak. And all at the same low price. This is the lowest. This is the, I don't want to say the cheapest. There is no training that you can buy that costs less than ICAR. And I promise no price increases in the coming 30 days. A final thought on training, and this really, you get to see this from a central perspective. I've taken a wild guess here at about 16,500 technical staff across Canada in the collision industry. That's a real estimate. In 2015, we delivered courses to about 4,500 people. That's about a quarter of those staff have taken an ICAR course. Now, and out of 4,200 shops roughly in Canada, we have about 680 current welding certifications. Now, I understand that ICAR is not the only training game in town. There's a lot of supplier training that's superb quality. There might be business training you take at the local college, but there aren't many other technical training infrastructures here in Canada. And those numbers are disturbing. They're disturbing, and it points to me to the shops and the individuals that are going to be in this business in the next 5 to 10 years, and the ones who are not going to be able to manage the technological change that faces the industry. So that being said, we strive on, and any questions at all, see Michelle after. Thank you very much.